This was definitely not a coincidence. Listen to this guy's story that you guys have tagged me in.
I need your guys' opinion on whether you think what I'm about to share with you is just a crazy, crazy coincidence or there's something much bigger going on. So me and my wife were flying to Colombia. She was traveling from Canada. I was traveling from West Texas. We were both going to meet in Houston, Texas. But upon arriving, my wife's luggage had been lost by Air Canada. So while figuring out what we're going to do, we decided to go to a restaurant to sit down and sort of come up with a game plan. The restaurant was too packed. There was no seating. So we went to, as our second option, a Subway, which is down the road from it, inside the airport. While sitting down, we hear a loud commotion going on beside us. And about 100 feet away, there's a lady dressed in all black, long, dark dreads. She had very weird jewelry all hanging off her body. She was being arrested. And while she was being arrested, she was screaming at the top of her lungs. She was from Black Wall Street. They didn't know who she was, so on and so forth. While we were watching this, my wife says, wow, actually, I was just in the elevator with this girl, me and her alone. And one thing she had noticed was how bad her smell was. It almost smelled like death. So while we thought her getting arrested at the airport was a little weird, nothing out of the ordinary. It is Houston after all. So after finishing up at Subway, she had been arrested, taken away by the police. Me and my wife decided to go sit down at a baggage claim while we call Air Canada. And who walks in the exit door beside us is the two police officers and this girl, this female, dressed in all black, the same one that was being arrested. So I thought, wow, that's a little weird that she was being released. And she had this very weird look on her eyes. Her eyes were barely open. Her glasses were sort of tilted. Just a very mysterious looking human. So after coming up with a game plan and figuring out that we had to come back to the airport the next day to retrieve our lost luggage, we decided to go find out where the Ubers are. But by mistake, we end up in the taxi section. So if we had just gone to the right Uber station in the first place, this never would have happened. But we went to the taxi area first. And while we were standing there out there waiting, guess who walks up beside us? Is this girl in all black, the exact same female with the black dreads, the black jewelry all over her body, very weird, stands right beside us and doesn't say a word. So I thought, okay, this is getting a little weird. We've seen this female so many times in such a short amount of time, but nonetheless, we're all in the airport, it can happen. We then realized we need to book a hotel. So after looking through hundreds of hotels, I picked one that I feel would be the best for me and my wife, and we decided to take an Uber there and check in. After arriving at the hotel, there is already somebody being helped at check-in, so we are first in line. We end up waiting in this line for 45 minutes. On minute number 44. So if we had just checked in at a regular time and didn't have to have this huge wait, we would have never seen her again. But at minute 44, guess who walks in the front of this hotel? The same female in the same hotel, dressed in all black, does not make eye contact with us, chains, jewelry, the same fucking girl. At this point, I'm starting to get just a little bit freaked out. Every time she's around, I have this weird, eerie feeling. And my wife was right. The stench was like something that I've never smelled before. It was like death. It was. The time is now about 11:30 p.m. at night. Me and my wife decide we are hungry. We are about to eat in the hotel when we say, you know what, let's go to this other restaurant that's a little bit down the road. It was about a half a mile walk. So, nothing crazy, but nonetheless, we decided to not eat at our hotel and walk down the road and eat at this other restaurant. After realizing how long the walk really was, when we were finishing up at this restaurant, we decided to take an Uber. But the Uber driver fails to connect. We wait 10, 15, 20 minutes. The Uber never comes. It never connects us to a driver. So we say, okay, you know what? Screw this. We're going to walk. While walking, we decide to stop at a convenience store at 12:30 in the morning. Walk into this convenience store, and who is standing there looking at buying sunglasses at 12:30 in the fucking morning? The same female, the same one we've seen so many times in such a short amount of time. I can understand at the airport, I can understand maybe even at the hotel. Regardless, there's hundreds of hotels, so I even thought that was a little bit crazy. But to see her at this random gas station at 12:30 in the morning, I was freaked right out. At this point, I start looking at my wife and I'm calling this woman the angel of death. I said, honey, something is much bigger is going on. I don't like this feeling. She looks like death. If I were to think of the person death, she would be the human form of this person. My wife nonetheless says, you need to calm down, let's go to bed, let's just wake up and forget that we've seen this woman so many times. Let's get our bags in the morning from the airport and let's make our way to Colombia. We were supposed to head to the airport at 4 p.m. that following day to pick up our bags. We decided to go early. We arrive at 3 p.m. instead. While sitting down at 3 p.m. in this airport, waiting for the luggage, who walks in the random door, this front door of this airport at this exact same time? The same female that we've seen so many times. Now, my wife doesn't get shook too often. It takes her a lot to get a little bit rattled, but at this point in time, now she's starting to understand where I was coming from yesterday. This has gone too far. This is too weird. There's too many things to align for this to have happened so many times in a city as big as Houston. Fast forward to my anniversary day in Colombia, I suffer a heart attack. A mild heart attack nonetheless. I'm thankful to be alive. I'm thankful to still be here. I'm very fatigued. I feel very shitty. But nonetheless, I'm blessed to still be here. What do you guys think? Do you think that I was in the presence of the angel of death? Or do you think all these times I bumped into her, somebody so out of this world looking, do you guys think it was a coincidence or do you think it was something much bigger than that? Let me know in the comments. Appreciate you guys watching.
Absolutely not a coincidence. I don't know if it was an angel of death. I don't know if it was someone that was protecting, maybe trying to warn. I'm not sure what exactly I think, but I do know on 100% this was not a coincidence. Let me know what you guys think in the comments.